I'm Jason Wilcox. I'm the marketing director here at TCI Engineering, and this is episode 2 for Project C10. Alright, so before we ordered a rear end from Currie, we needed to do some basic mock-up. So we built basically a steel tube, just a 3-inch tube, put some ends on it, and used that for mock-up. We tried a couple different widths, 58-inch, 59, 60. What this tube allowed us to do was take some mock-up wheels while the chassis was still in the fixture and try to see about how much backspace we'd be able to run. We were hoping to run a 12 or 13-inch wide rear wheel with 0 offset. So we needed to get pretty close with this mock-up rear end just to see where we were at. We knew we needed a shorter arm on it, so we just kind of guessed and went about 25 degrees and pushed the axle bracket farther out towards the wheel, trying to get as much roll resistance as we could. You know, we weren't able to run the stock length truck arm just because of the rail being stepped as far as it was. They would have interfered. So now that we had most of the structure of the chassis put together, we knew we could remove it from the fixture. So in doing that, we were able to get it up onto the lift and do a bit more welding on it, filling holes, doing some grinding, smoothing it all out. So we took it in the back shop. We've got a grind room back there, which we spent basically a whole day grinding on the thing, cleaning back some of the welds and, you know, basically filling in holes where we could. You know, we use that as basically our moving forward point for mocking up the rear suspension. Now that we had our rear end, we could really articulate it, see how much roll steer that it had, and also check wheel travel. We were planning on running the 6-inch travel Ridetech Shockwaves on the back, but we were hoping to get about 7 inches of wheel travel total. So we were able to cycle it, watch it go up and down, and kind of mess around with a few things with pinion angle and anti-squat as well. So we basically made a removable dog bone at the front for the torque arm, so all we have to do is change the length on it to change anti-squat. So whether we're going to the drag strip or autocross, we can tune it very easily to make the rear suspension do what we want. So with the amount of travel that we have available, we were able to basically get the ride height up to about 4.5, 5 inches bottom of the frame with the 26-inch tall tire. With the 28s, obviously, we'll be able to bring that up a little bit, make it a little bit more drivable. We were also able to put the engine and transmission in it right before the show and take a look and see where we were at there. Engine angle had to be a little bit high just because of the pan that was on that engine was not what we were going to run in the truck. Same thing with the transmission pan. So we just kind of got it in there and loosely put the engine mounts and the tranny mount in it just to get us to the Brothers Truck Show. So now that we had some wheels on it, we rolled the chassis back to the back shop where we do all the brake lines. Fred, the shop manager, is the one that does all of our brake lines in-house. So we'd had him do all the 1/4-inch air lines for it. We had to mount the distribution block such that it was just out of the way from the gas tank and the rear axle. So we just kind of did some quick brackets on it, tack welded them on, again, just to get us to the Brothers Truck Show. But you can kind of see Fred's attention to detail in all of his bins, and for those of you that have been lucky enough to get one of our chassis, you'll see that the brake lines, and if so equipped, your air lines are extremely nice. So all these lines that Fred does are all hand bent. As you can see, he basically keeps a tape measure, a Sharpie, and a little hand bender in his pocket, and that's how he does this. So he can bust out about a chassis a day, whether it be brake lines or air lines, either way. But his attention to detail is obviously very good. You know, he's an artist. You know, out of all the things that are done at his shop, I really enjoy watching him do what he does. You know, there's definitely some good welders that are fun to watch, but watching this guy do the artwork of the brake lines and the air lines is something special. All right, so this was somewhat of a special day for me. I ended up just taking a whole day, pretty much a personal time off day, came down to the shop with my dad. We spent basically about 10-12 hours just in the shop, getting the truck ready for the show. He was a big help. Having extra hands obviously was nice, but you know, being able to do that and bro down with my dad all day was really cool. So he helped me out with, you know, basically getting all the air lines tidied up and getting all the solenoids mounted, and of course helping out with getting the cab back on and getting this thing loaded up on the trailer and getting it ready for the show. Alright, so before we put the cab back on the chassis, we wanted to roll the pinch welds over. The pinch welds from the side view are something that are kind of obscene, obnoxious, ugly, whatever, but it can ruin the lines of the truck. Kind of twofold. We also wanted to do a body drop. So we were able to roll the pinch weld over, gain about 5/8 of an inch. So we were able to do about a 3/4 inch body drop and still have the bottom of the cab be above the bottom of the frame. So should we ever high center it, whatever, it's going to hit the frame well before it's going to hit the cab. But it also had another aspect where now we have a nice flat surface to attach the belly pan to. So again, we're going to plan on going really fast with this truck. We need every aerodynamic advantage that we can get. So having a belly pan in there and somewhere to attach to that's got some structural integrity was a nice benefit. Alright, so now that the cab was back on the chassis and bolted down, it was time to get loaded up and take it to the Brothers Truck Show. The truck was going to be the center stage of our booth, and with some intention to kind of show what we're capable of doing, you know, with our front and rear suspension, and of course a little bit of funny business with turbos and engine setback. But people were really kind of taken back by it. You know, had a lot of good questions. You know, people kind of tripping out on, you know, what we've done so far. So we're kind of excited to, you know, show off more as we get farther into this. Alright, so once we got back from the show, it was time to start mounting some of the body panels on it and really seeing where we can do with wheel and tire packages, and also see, you know, how it's going to look with it fully aired out. So something else that I don't think I've seen done before is anytime you step the rails and move the bed floor up, you're now running into a situation when you open the tailgate, you've got this big area underneath the bed floor that's just open. Now, a lot of guys panel it or, you know, put different things in there from airlines, whatever. I wanted to, one, save some weight, so we moved the tailgate up a little bit, which we had to section it roughly the same amount that the bed sides were sectioned. So now when you open the tailgate, the floor of it is going to be level with the floor, the bed floor. A couple things with that is that, again, allowed us to integrate in a diffuser, move the roll pan up, allow the air to exit the back of the truck, but yet still keep some of the function of the tailgate. We were also able to do some rear fabrication on the diffuser, kind of start messing around with it. The running joke right now is that the back end is going to look like a pontoon boat, but we basically took some long bed, the factory long bed sides, and cut them up a little bit and started working on a diffuser back there. It's all going to be integrated into the belly pan, and again, the idea is to create a little bit of downforce, make it a little bit aerodynamic. So in the first video, we talked a little bit about transmissions and what our intentions were. We were kind of debating on which transmission to run. You know, with running the 8-speed automatic, run in some issues with controlling it. Basically, nobody's got a standalone controller for them yet unless you're running an LT engine. The other option was a 6L, and there wasn't a lot of confidence that it was going to handle the amount of power we're going to be throwing at this. So we talked to the guys at the toy shop, and they ended up building us a really nice 4L80 for it. It's going to require us to go into overdrive to do some of these standing mile events, but we felt that it was the best compromise with size and spacing. So being that it's a lot shorter, not only height-wise but front to back than a 6L, it gave us quite a bit more floor space inside the cab. With as far back as this engine is, that is a very nice thing to have. With the transmission basically where it's going to be, now it was time to start building the tunnel back. So with the tubes that we used that went on top of the frame to keep some strength in it and build the center section up, we just had to build the floor around that. So I'm certainly not a sheet metal guy by any stretch, so I just kind of did it in sections, some of the flat horizontal panels, and then worked some of the vertical panels and just kind of cut them to length and, you know, did a little spot welds here and there and kind of beat it into submission in some other areas. We did have to cut the back of the cab, which was expected to clear the drive shaft, but it also gave us better access to the front of the torque arm for making those adjustments we talked about. So basically now that we've got that in, you know, the next video we're going to talk a little bit about the engine build and also that Astrovan engine cover. We were kind of on the lookout for something simple and easy that could go in and kind of be removable. And in short, you know, trying to fabricate something would have taken some time. So we were on the lookout for basically an Astrovan doghouse. So we went to the junkyard and ended up grabbing one. We also cut out the whole surround, and we're just going to graft that to the firewall. So with the doghouse, now we're able to move forward on getting the engine placement where we wanted it. The tranny still has a little bit of adjustment on where it can go front to back, but in the next video we're going to talk a little bit about the doghouse, the engine build, and also getting Currie to build us a really nice Turn9 chrome Holley floater hub rear end for it, and get our intro wheels ordered for it. So stay tuned.